label, especially Benny Brown, the head of the label, really felt it was important to kind of capture the changes in my life that I've made over the past few years. So we started looking for songs that kind of mirrored that rather than kind of what I grew up on and what I've made a living on for the first part of my career. You know, everything's going good. I got a bright place in my life, and I'm very thankful, and I'm in love, and got a new baby. All these things are happening in my life that are going really great. And so we wanted songs that kind of reflected that, you know, kind of be congruent with what's going on in my life. That's what we got. We got a list of songs, and matter of fact, we even have a couple that are throwbacks to why I got into country music in the first place, or what I grew up listening to. So overall, the result is we have a record full of energy and full of life, you know, full of goodness. We found a few songs, we cut a few songs, we started, we had several that made reference to crickets, you know, somewhere in the song, but we kind of felt this more tone of being out in the country, you know, out like in a hayfield or by a creekside or out by a river or something like that. Kind of the setting is in the countryside. And so, you know, crickets naturally is that, you know, when I think of crickets themselves, I think of organic, earthy, you know, kind of part of the earth. And so the tone of the record being a happy, positive, earthy, out in the country kind of setting, we wanted that to kind of represent the record. And so I know people probably are initially going to think crickets, but when you hear the story behind why crickets, and when you hear the album, especially top to bottom, you'll see the story, the theme of the record, and why we decided on that as a title. This album with crickets, much like, you know, my early part of my career with, you know, Coupe de Villes, you know, I had a string of hits there right in a row that all mentioned Coupe de Ville. So you could have called that section of my career, that album or two, you know, Coupe de Ville. Like that. This is, you know, it makes mention, and more than that, it's bigger. It's like I said, to me it feels country. You know, crickets, you know, fish with crickets all the time, and you know, that's what I hear at nighttime when I step out on the porch. So to me, it's bigger than just an album title. It's kind of the mood of the record. It kind of it's the setting of the record. To me, Sunny in 75 is 2 steps in the new direction. There are certainly songs on the record that are 1 step away from where I've been before, but Sunny is definitely a couple of steps away from production-wise and vocally everything from anything I've done. I've always been more of a traditional guy that's always had to play the traditional side. But with this album, we wanted to go different. We wanted to go bigger. We wanted to keep that traditional integrity, you know, keep that traditional sound, but bring it into 2013 and make it a brand new sound. And so Sunny in 75 is kind of that, a very good representation of that whole thing, meaning that the vocal and the verses sounds like me. It sounds like me talking, it sounds like me, what I would normally do, singing. And then it builds to this gradual vocal that sits up here and has a lot of energy and life and, you know, youth, and that's what it sounds like. And that's kind of the overall theme of the record. We want to take the traditional country core and just expand it out in the ear. That's what Sunny in 75 does. The energy is the first thing that struck me about Sunny in 75. That and the dynamics. The song slowly builds into this just screaming kind of almost like a Journey, Don't Stop Believing kind of tempo song. And so that to me is important because I think the music itself brings out emotions, not just a lyric or how you sing them and how you deliver them. It's the music. The music builds and it takes you on a journey. You kind of feel like you're slowly and steadily moving out to the beach, and all of a sudden you're sprinting on the beach, you know, with a girl in tow. So it's, to me, that's what drew me to the energy. One of the first conversations I had with the new label Red Bow, with Benny, was about what are you willing to do? How are you willing to change? Do we want to sell the same record you've sold, you know, many times before on previous records, or do you want to do something new? Do you want to do something more? And that was what I was already thinking when I first got into conversations with Red Bow. I was thinking, you know, I want to change things up. I want to make some things new. I want to create a new sound. I want to keep what sounds good about me, but I want to expand on those qualities and make them sound new. And they challenged me to do that right out of the box. And we did, and it worked. You know, I thought that's why it was a great partnership, is because they had the same ideas that I had, you know, going forward. And, you know, had they said, hey, we want to make the same record you made in 2002, I'd have probably not gelled so much. But they said, let's make this record, 2013.